Hello, and welcome to the Wolf Among Us Episode 3 review. This episode is entitled A Crooked Mile, A Crooked Mile. Never really got a clear answer on which way to pronounce that word, but I'm going to assume it's crooked, because that sounds right. And I'm Jared Russo, I'm the gaming editor for GeekBinge.com, and I have reviewed all three of the episodes in this wonderful game. So A Crooked Mile, I think, is the most intense episode. It is not quite the most action-packed, but it does have, I feel like, the most significant decisions you have to make in any episode of the three. It is the most replayable, since that's the case. You have more important decisions. It's almost like the game wants you to play it again just to kind of see what you missed. Um, but I think I might like this episode the least, and that's really surprising because when I played it the first time, again, I don't know what's coming, so I was very floored. I was like, "Oh man, I can't believe all this is happening. It's so overwhelming and how crazy this is." And then by the end of the episode, I was like, "I gotta play that again," and I did, and I was a bit underwhelmed because I can start to see the strings being pulled behind the scenes. I can see the man behind the curtain, as they say. Because like I understand now that no matter what I do, no matter what I say, no matter what I decide, no matter what information I have, the game will kind of push me through the same story as everyone else. We're all gonna get the same answers eventually. I've played each episode again, and it's like even though like what I say is technically different and how people react to me is technically different, and every once in a while there might be like an extra injury or death, I just feel like we're going through the same basic narrative where I didn't have that feeling from Walking Dead. I felt like those decisions were really impactful. Those were really important, and they really did change like the way it went. I feel like we're here. It's like you could almost just close your eyes and blind just pick whatever, and you'll still just be pushed through the story. So you could be the world's worst detective, and you could still get away with it fine. Like the game will present to you the information you were supposed to get. There's not a lot of puzzle elements in this game. There's not a lot of like super heavy exploration where you can just like wander around and just like learn about the world. It's like you're in a room, there's a bunch of evidence or objects in the room, and whenever you hit the one that you're supposed to, boom, you move on to the next room, you move on to the next event. And I kind of feel cheated sometimes when it happens because like I'm not quite ready to leave or I'm not quite ready to stop talking to somebody. I feel like the best part about this game or any narratively driven game or any great book or any great movie or TV show are the characters. Like that's what really I'm here for. I'm invested in. I understand the murder investigation is oh, it's mysterious, and the game is two steps ahead of me, and that's I guess you can either accept that and be fine with it, or you can kind of be a little disgruntled and be like, okay, like we get it, the game, you're smarter than me. I'm not fully aware of what's going on, but neither does Bigby or Snow White. But I don't know. I just feel like the best parts about all three of these episodes are the moments where you get to talk to somebody and they get to have like a human moment, like a genuine reaction, or when you feel awkward and you say something awkward and then you feel awkward because Big B said it and did it in an awkward way, or when you have like that moment in the taxi cab with Snow White, and you're like, oh boy, like there's something there in the air, or when you're genuinely like you laugh at a joke that's like really great. Like those are the moments. And so what we're watching now is the beginning of the game. This is not a spoiler. I'm not going to spoil this game. I should have said that at the beginning. But like all the little quips that Buffkin has, or all the times where you're just like you learn about like people's reactions to events, and you get to spend time with them and kind of learn who they are. Like those are my favorite parts. Not the like oh my goodness, like end, like the end sequence of this game is really ridiculous, and I kind of know. Ah, boy, I don't want to spoil this, but like it's like everyone's gonna come out fine, and that you're gonna get to the end of the story and find out who the killer is. So I almost feel like as much as the game wants to make it seem like there's a lot of stakes involved and there's a lot of tension, I'm just like I can kind of see through it. Like I kind of know I'm gonna play as Bigby next episode, and he'll turn into a wolf. Like we get it. Like I would like to go to a new place. I would like to see something new. I would like to keep being introduced to new characters and have their relationships make other relationships more complicated. And more evidence and more red herrings. And as it is now, it's just a lot of like people walking in with shotguns and threatening someone's life, and then there's just a lot of like the aftermath of things like that. So the end of this game, the people in episode 2 have been talking about this crooked man, and then you don't even get to see the crooked man. He's like this hyped up person in this episode, and it's a bit of an anti Deus Ex Machina, where it's just like, okay, like everything that you've learned in the first 3 episodes, that's kind of in the garbage now because there's this other person who's really behind everything. You'll meet him next episode, and I don't really enjoy that. I would like the game to have kind of presented us with all the major players, and so you can always kind of be aware of what is going on and who is lying and who is telling the truth, instead of having to keep being introduced to like, okay, well, this week's episode, he's the suspect, and next episode, he's the suspect, and they kind of keep introducing like a new suspect, even though I know most of them are just going to be, found out to be innocent. And I don't know, sometimes I'm going through the game and I don't know what's coming next, and that's the best part about a mystery, is when you don't know what's coming next, and that's really exciting. But I feel like even when I replayed this episode, I got to choose, like how I did the episode differently, because there's 3 major decisions. Well, there's not 3 major decisions. There's 1 major decision you have to make, and it's of 3 different places you have to go to. You go to Tweedledee's and Dumb's office, or you go to Crane's apartment, or you go to the bar where Lily's stuff is. Like it's like this big and there's a ticking clock, and you're like, oh boy, this is an important decision. I better make it correct. And then you play it again, or you play it a 3rd time, you realize that like no matter what you choose, like you're gonna get the same basic information. And I hope that episode 4 and 5, like all of the choices that I've made, really do change what happens. I really do hope that the branches are so vast that somebody else could have information that I don't have, or somebody else could fail to find out who the killer is, and I could successfully learn out who the killer is, or something along those lines. I don't know. I just feel like sometimes my choices don't matter. I feel like I've never been caught in a situation where someone who remembered something I said, or it's like Snow White will remember that. I never got a moment where I went, oh, that came back into play. Or I feel like that happened a lot in Walking Dead, where like I really did suffer the consequences of my choices. Like my actions actually had ramifications in the world. And I hate having to review this game, because I'm kind of reviewing it like a TV critic, because I'm also a TV critic for Geek Binge, and I feel like I'm basically just criticizing the story and literally what happens, and I don't get to talk about like the gameplay, because it's the exact same as the other episodes. I don't get to talk about the great soundtrack, because it's the same as the other episodes. I don't get to talk about the graphics or the art style. I feel like there's so many aspects of a game that I don't get to talk about, because this game is literally just what happened, how did you feel about what happened, what is your reaction to what happened. Like a TV episode, it's a little weird. I have to kind of take off my gaming critic hat and put on my TV critic hat. But there are some really great moments. I don't want to underplay that. I don't want to sound like I was disappointed with the episode. I feel like the first time I went through, I was like, oh wow, that's a really funny moment, that's a really great line. I think the best part about this episode in particular is when you go into Lily's bar and you get to talk to everybody after Lily's death and after her funeral, and you just see how everyone kind of deals with that, and it's really, really funny stuff. And I kind of wanted more of that. I didn't want Bigby to be walking around all brooding and then threatening people and asking people questions, because it almost seems like nobody knows anything in this game. Like, no one has any information. Anytime you ask somebody where they went or where they are or what they do, nobody knows anything. And it's just like, why am I asking you? Like, why am I bothering if you're not going to, help me? Like, 90% of the cast, will not tell you anything. And even when you do get to the 10% of people who know something, like Tweedledee, Tweedledum, they don't tell you. So it's just like, okay, why am I torturing you? Like, why am I talking to you if you're not even going to bother to tell me anything? I don't know. I mean, I appreciate the fact that they let you kind of play Bigby the way you want, so you could be a real dick and you could totally go in that direction, or you can just be really nice. And this game, doesn't have like a morality meter, so it's not like you just choose one or the other. You can kind of mix and match. And I really like the interplay between Snow White and Bigby, because a lot of your decisions are kind of based on how she reacts to something and how she wants to take the investigation. And it's like, well, do I want to not listen to her and do it my way and see if I if I can go to this place or talk to this person, or do I want to listen to her and kind of get that romance thing going? Which I enjoyed very much. There was a lot of that in this episode. Having played it twice, there are some moments where she steps it up and she she doesn't take any of your bullshit, and she'll fucking tell you off, like, hey, buddy, like, I don't agree with that, or, you know what, I'm gonna take this into my own hands. So I really, really like how Snow White is developing as a character. Um, I don't know. I'm still kind of I'm still kind of thinking about that ending, which I don't really want to talk about. I mean, maybe I'll talk about it because if you're listening to this review or watching this review, I should say, maybe you've already played this. I don't feel like there's anyone on the fence, not sure of whether they're gonna jump in. This is the third episode out of 5, so spoilers ahead. I'm interested in the Bloody Mary character. I'm still just kind of pissed off about the tease of the Crooked Man, and I don't know. I like the first time going through that, I was like, oh man, they're shooting Bigby with shotguns. Like, oh my goodness, I can kill one of them. And then I played it again, and I was just a little like, okay, this is I don't know. Like, this is all a lot of hoopla. I don't know if this will work out. I don't know if this is gonna matter at all. It was kind of just like a giant hand of God, like the writing team jumping in and being like, all right, like we're taking over the situation, guys. Like this didn't happen naturally. Like this needs to happen, and we need to introduce these people because they're important later on. It didn't feel like it happened as like a spur of the moment thing. It happened like it was very cut and planned, and I don't know. I feel like when I was going through the beginning of this episode, it felt like I mattered more, and by the end of it, I feel like nothing I did mattered. It felt like I was just on a roller coaster along for the ride, which it kind of sucks. I would have liked to have seen in these first 3 episodes maybe different events happen that like I completely missed. I feel like the biggest thing that happened in episode 1 was if you got Prince Lawrence, that's his name, Faith's husband, to stay alive, because then he's around and you could talk to him and stuff. And so far, that's basically the biggest change if you replay the game is that right there. So there you go. Those are my thoughts on episode 3, a crooked mile. I'll never get a consensus on that. But in the meantime, you can go to geekbench.com to check out all of the great content we have, video game or otherwise. You can look forward to my review of episode 4 and 5 whenever the hell they come out. You can follow me on Twitter at Jared Russo. You can go to twitch.tv/geekbinge to check out our live streams every Sunday and Wednesday. I think we're going to actually live stream this game coming up. You can probably check out the archives on that. YouTube.com/geekbingevideos is where you'll find more stuff like this, more video reviews and gaming-related videos. And that is it. So thank you for watching. This game gets an 8.5, I should say. If you were wondering what the score is, although I hate review scores, completely arbitrary. I hate the fact that I'm forced to do them. They're mandatory. So there you go, 8.5. I hope that tells you everything you need to know, because it tells me nothing. It's just a number out of 10. I feel like the first 10 minutes of this review should really count my words. I don't hate this game. I'm really, really, really liking this game, and I'm very much enjoying it. But this still could have the potential to just kind of flounder, to fall onto its face. Even though the world is really great and the characters are great and the lore is great, I don't know. Walking Dead set such a high bar. It's going to be so hard for this game to match up to that, considering gameplay-wise there's nothing new there to offer. It's really just kind of a slimmed down Walking Dead, just with a different story, which sounds so harsh, but that's what it kind of is. So, all right, there you go. I'm going to stop rambling. That's the end of the video review. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.